What's up, everybody? We're back,
I'm Steven,
and it's Brett again.
and we're talking about Brian Ortega versus Max Holloway, a fight that I am stoked to watch. But I don't know who I want to win because they're like two of the nicest guys in the world fighting each other. Like, honestly.
I think I'm more excited for this fight than the DC Stipe fight.
Oh yeah, I am definitely.
I'm more involved though. Like I feel like I've watched more of Ortega. You know, he's kind of an up and comer, and
But both of us are really into jiu-jitsu too.
Yeah.
So before he was even in MMA, we kind of like had our eyes on this guy being a killer. T-City, Triangle City.
I mean, but you know, Max Holloway, man. I mean, how do you count out a guy who literally destroyed Jose Aldo twice?
You know what's something I just realized? This might just be the best jiu-jitsu in the UFC versus the best stand-up in the UFC.
Yeah.
It's arguable for sure.
Definitely arguable. I mean, I don't think there's any person that watches MMA on a regular basis that would say that not agree that Max Holloway stand-ups at least top 5. You know?
I think so.
I do.
It's just an opinion, but
and then at the opposite side with Ortega, you know, I don't think there's anybody that would disagree that Ortega's jiu-jitsu is the top 5 in the UFC. And where's it going to go? You know?
Exactly. And like how they say, styles make matchups. This is like the ultimate clash of two styles.
Yeah.
So let's get into breaking down this fight. And how do you see this fight going?
Well, you know, I think that it's not the classic striker versus grappler because Ortega is a jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you can kind of pair it like that, you know. Max Holloway's stand-up is 100% amazing. You know, for him to beat Jose Aldo twice, very decisively. You know, TKO both times. You know, not to mention the last guy to defeat him is Conor McGregor, and they went to decision.
It's funny how Jose Aldo just picked all these people apart. You know, Conor comes, beats him once, and then Max Holloway just picks Jose Aldo apart. So it's interesting, like, what's going on with Aldo? You know what I mean? Did USADA come? You know, the snitch? Or what's going on there? It's just interesting. But it's obvious that Max Holloway is just bounds ahead of his division.
Yes.
But Brian Ortega is undefeated. He's young. He's hungry. He has shown vulnerabilities in his stand-up, but it looks like he's improving in that field, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's just really interesting what's going to happen. I'm curious.
I think the main, I guess, discrepancy, if you will, we don't know. We know Max Holloway is getting better. Or I'm sorry, we know Brian Ortega is getting better every single fight, and it shows. You know. But the one thing is, if you look, Brian Ortega's been quite a bit longer, taller, bigger than most of his opponents. Frankie Edgar was way smaller. It was, you know, it was obvious. You know, Cub Swanson was way smaller. It was obvious. Clay Guida, he was way smaller. It was obvious. But Clay Guida, Cub Swanson, they were having their way with him until Ortega got a hold of him and put his jiu-jitsu to work. Max Holloway is long, he's tall, and his stand-up is bar none some of the best in the UFC. So I don't know if Max Holloway is going to allow Ortega to get a hold of him, if that makes sense, because he's bigger and he's longer. Now Ortega's going against a guy with the same size that he is.
See, I kind of feel like Max has to put him away because Brian Ortega is known for finishing his fights late. Like, if there's any chance for him to pull it out, he will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He'll pull guard. He'll find a way to choke you out or finish the fight. And that's what's crazy about Ortega. What does he have, like the most third round finishes? Or
I believe it's something like that.
Yeah.
I know Clay Guida he beat in the last, I think, 10 seconds, 15 seconds of the fight. Cub Swanson, he was having his way with him. Ortega pulled that one out. Obviously, Frankie, you know, he knocked out with the uppercut, which in my opinion is due to the size disadvantage. You know, Frankie is an absolute monster, but he's a little guy. Ortega was so much bigger than him. So, you know, if I were to bet my money, like I said earlier, you know,
so how do you see this fight going?
I'm going Holloway. I'm going Holloway with the TKO.
Holloway, what round do you think will happen in?
I think second round.
Second round?
I think Max Holloway's striking is so far more superior than Brian Ortega's that I think he's going to pick him apart, and he's really going to do his best to keep his distance so Ortega can't get a hold of him.
Okay. I'm not going to say I like Brian Ortega, But I think Max Holloway is just a little more experienced in the striking, and I don't think it's gonna be a second round TKO. I give Brian Ortega a little more credit than that, because he does have a hard head and he makes it through adversity a lot. Like, he's taken shots and made it far, even though Max Holloway has killer stand up and he will pick you apart.
Absolutely.
But I think Brian Ortega will find a way to take it to the ground and find a way to make the fight go on and make it a good fight. But all that being said, I still have Max Holloway winning. I'm going with decision. I think he's going to win in decision. He's going to pull it out.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out this Saturday, man. It's a stacked card, and let us know what you think.
Leave your comment. Let us know. Yeah, well, let us know what you think. Who you got winning, how, and
tune into the fights, and I guess we'll figure out if our picks were right or not.
Right on. And we're gonna make a recap on the fights and everything. So stay tuned for that. Have a good one, guys.
See ya.